Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Round 7. How you doing? Today we're going over Chaosbringer's defense. I took a shellacking in chat today trying to learn about Crucible. We would like to start doing Crucible Defense Up videos. I know you guys have been asking me about that. I do not feel comfortable giving out information on Crucible at this time, but we've got it in the works. We've got it in the works, so it will happen. If you're interested in sharing your Crucible defenses with me, find me in the Discord. Links are in the description. Send those over. I will put together a team and probably do something like once a week, go over some Crucible defenses and talk in depth about it with guests or something like that, because I can't handle this stuff by myself, but it's coming. This, however, is standard war defense up. We grade on 5 different criteria. It's who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. Starting off on team number 1 is something I haven't seen before. This is a Ravager, Star-Lord, Invisible Woman team. And you know what? I kind of like this. We were having to build these two for the Nowhere event or the Nowhere heist. I don't think that's important to build them up big, but you got to build them up to some degree to do that heist event. And then you've got Ravagers. Now, here's the thing. I like Ravagers for offense. I don't have a Ravager team. All I have is T'Challa Star-Lord, but I've played around with them. I played with others, Ravagers and stuff. I think they're a fantastic little team for doing some niche, fun stuff. If you get the opportunity to build them, you should, but they are definitely a luxury. Here we are on defense with them, and I think they're pretty good here. We've got the exact right ISOs on everyone for this team. I love the placement, and I think we could be using some different people other than Star-Lord or Invisible Woman. However, if you had to build them for whatever reason and you've got them built up, you kind of want to use them to get some sort of value, right? So here's the place to go. And the other choices that might go into this team aren't going to do much better. So I think this is great. I like this team. I like the ISOs. I like the placement. I'm going to give you an A for this. I might go A+ if we had some more impactful people. But these two are doing well enough. You're going to get the barrier, giving this team some sustain. He's going to be doing his ultimate turn 1, which brings out an evade, and then it's being prolonged by Yondu, I believe is how it works. Or maybe it's his. It's going to be prolonged anyway. And then Star-Lord putting out extra blinds in there for him to work off of on that turn 2 maneuver. I'm not sure how that times out. I can't remember if Star-Lord puts those blinds out before or after. I think it might be after. I'm not sure. Like I said, these aren't a great pick over here, but they're a pretty good pick. So I like this team. Team number 2 is the Web Warriors. Everything done right here. I would like to see a placement swap. I mean, these guys are okay in the back. They're just hot targets. If they do get killed, then you've got gap placement on your front row. So it's okay. But I am kind of coming around to the idea that we just keep these two as far apart from each other as possible by placing them to the outside corners. But I think it's fine. I'll give you the A for that anyways. Team number 3 is the Darkhold Dormhold, I guess we're calling it now. Dormhold team on defense. Here's the problems I have with this team. Agatha is calling out 1 assist outside of Arena, so she is either calling MLF or she is calling out Strange Heartless. I think you should know what she is doing. So one thing I think we should do is we're going to change the placement. We're going to keep Dormammu here in the corner, but then we're going to put Agatha next to him, and then we're going to put Wong next to her. She calls a Darkhold member, not anybody. So she won't call Dormammu, and it will force her to call Wong every time. Wong is going to clear negative effects from this team on his counter assist. So that's why we put Wong next to her. I think that is more impactful, clearing those negative effects, than it is getting some health steal damage from here or just regular damage from him. I actually am kind of unimpressed with Heartless. I thought he was going to be a better damage dealer than he is. That's not to say that he's trash. He's a very good character. I just expected more than what I got. So yeah, so let's do a placement change. Now, Agatha, I think, should be a skirmisher in every case. I just think she should. I like her better as a skirmisher. You're gonna get lots of vulnerables out of her AoE attacks. There's a lot of energy popping off on this team, so she does AoEs a lot, and you will get some vulnerables out of that, and that's great. So 2 and 3 works on this team. I just like her better as a skirmisher for making sure that her stun lands on turn 2. On defense, MLF as a striker is fine with me. On arena, I think 100% of the time in arena, she needs to be a skirmisher. So let's go with a placement change for sure. Consider changing her Agatha's ISO. I'm going to give you a B for that team. Could use a few tweaks. Team number 4 is the Secret Avengers with Doc Ock. Now, what we did is we replaced the traditional Fury with Doc Ock. And he's going to be giving off deflex to adjacent members, which means we need to move him out of the corner. Swap places with Carter and Doc Ock. And that way these two will be getting those deflex and blocks, which helps. And then if you're adjacent to defense down, if you're adjacent to security or insecurity, Kestrel's a pretty good choice. However, if you're not, I recommend putting in somebody like you could put in Blob, you could put in Captain America, you could put in a few other people that will cause this team to be a very slow down team, cause them to time out against this team because of the healing and the blocking and the deflex and the taunting and whatnot. Hulk is another good choice in here. Although he doesn't have, like, you could go Captain America and Hulk in here, and then you have a Wave 1 Avenger paired with Hulk. It's something to do. Those are just ideas, but this works just fine, but we definitely need that placement change. I don't like that at all. Let's see, Skirmisher, Raider, Skirmisher, Striker, Healer. Those ISOs are fine, but we definitely need a placement change. That's a big no-no. I'm going to go B- on that team because that is a very, very bad thing to do is that placement. All right, team number 5 is the Emmarauders with Prior. Okay. Everything's good here. You could consider changing Emma with Mystique simply to try and salvage some of the evades off of Mystique, and Mystique is a little bit weak. Emma can really tank the splash damage just fine. Now, we know that we are no longer putting Fortifier on Strife as of his rework for sure. Fortifier literally does nothing for him on this full team. Literally does nothing for him on this full team other than the passive bonuses which you would get from any other ISO. So my recommendation is either Healer or Skirmisher for this team. I like Skirmisher if you have a big Prior. If she's not that big, I like Healer. Striker is probably the second least effective because all he has is damage on his basic counter assist. It's just damage, so don't use Striker. Raider's almost as bad. Skirmisher, Healer for that. I like Skirmisher on Mystique rather than Raider. Raider's a secondary pick for me. Striker on... No. We want healers on both of these, and you could use Emma as a skirmisher if you want. So I like Emma as a skirmisher, healer on Sinister, healer or skirmisher on Strife, and skirmisher here. We need to change a lot of those ISOs. That's not good at all. Okay, I'm gonna go with a C+ on that. I think you wasted a lot of ions putting the wrong ISOs into those characters. All right, team number 6, we've got the Wave 1 Avengers. Hulk and Captain America off to the side as healers. That's correct. You went Striker on Black Widow. I kind of prefer her as a skirmisher. I think on that Skilletary team, she has callouts to skirmisher, but it's okay because you're running a skirmisher Striker combo with these two, and that's fine. That's one way to go about it. I also like skirmisher on him for clearing positive effects. I also like Raider on him because he's got Raider built into his kit. I would prefer Thor as a Raider, but you've already invested in him and it's too late to change it. But if you're building this team, Thor should be a Raider in most cases. I think what we did is back when ISO 8 first came out, the Asgardians were kind of the hot sauce, and we thought, well, Thor is the damage dealer, so you make him a Striker. But now we know that Striker's more than just damage. You want it for their basic assist things, and I don't think that's a great... I don't think he has a great basic assist counter, so we changed him to Raider for crit damage on those AoEs and chain attacks. I'm gonna go with an A-. This isn't a detrimental thing, it's just we could have done better. Team number 7 is the Mercs with Surfer. Okay, what's going on here is that you're putting out Skirmisher because these guys are going to, when they do attack, he's gonna counter and lay up a Skirmisher, a vulnerable. That's going to put lots of vulnerables out there for Surfer to go into, so I kind of like that Surfer's a striker on this team. Normally on defense, I like him as a Raider for crit damage and putting out vulnerables himself. Shuri as a healer is fine. You could change these guys' ISOs. They're not going to last very long, honestly. Counters are going to come into this and just clear these guys off. They're kind of so small and squishy. Not a lot of different things you could do. The good news is that Taskmaster's going to go kind of fast with a blind. He's 7 red star doing lots of damage. He's going to be utilized pretty effectively. You could make these guys strikers, so he's doing triple taps. You You could also replace Shuri with somebody like Korath the Pursuer as another skirmisher. Put Korath in here as another skirmisher, so you're getting even more vulnerables on the field. Korath is really fast. He's calling in that assist from Taskmaster, getting more damage out of Taskmaster. Also, you could consider making these guys all, making these guys all strikers and keeping him as a skirmisher. You could. I wouldn't, though, with the power levels, and that's an older build and it doesn't work as well. So there's some options for you, nothing too detrimental. It's just your power levels are pretty wonky. If those Merc minions were more impactful or this team wasn't quite so old, I would say invest in these guys and build this team up a little bit, but it's just not worth it. You're doing the best that you can with what you got, and I'm going to give you an A for the team because it's okay. It's just, I think probably the best move might be throwing Korath the Pursuer and use Shuri elsewhere. We're talking about Wakandans a lot these days. They're pretty badass. Okay, team number 8 is a Doom Brotherhood team. This is great for soaking up X Factor. We've got 1, 2 people putting out vulnerables. You've got 3 people soaking them up. Here's the thing. Striker on the guy with the dome-headed thing, I can't even think of his name right now, Juggernaut. You can't put Striker on him. His basic assist is just damage. He does not add charges to himself. It is no good. Don't use him as a Striker. That's a terrible choice. I think Raider is a good choice for getting some vulnerables out on the field because he does some area of effect attacks, and usually they're clumped together, so you're hitting a lot of people with that. I think that's probably a better choice is Raider on that one. Blob is going to be counterattacking 100% of the time because he gets 25% counterattack for Brotherhood plus himself. That's 100% with this team. So Striker is okay, and here's why. You have Magneto and Doom or Doombots putting out Disrupted on the field. And so every time he attacks, if there is a vulnerable on that character and the disrupt, he will hit slow and rewind their turn meter, and it's pretty effective. However, I really like Striker being reserved for this team on offense with Pyro, because then everybody's getting disrupt and you're controlling who he goes into, and you can really rewind that turn meter when you want to. These two are not putting out that many disrupts, and without the disrupt, he doesn't rewind the turn meter. He does, however, add slow to everybody he counterattacks into. So Striker's okay. I wouldn't bother changing it. You've already invested him to War Ready. That's fine. The other choice is Skirmisher to add vulnerables to the field, and that's not a bad choice, being you have Doom as a Striker. You could get double taps out of your Doom. It's an option for you. Honestly, the biggest mistake I see here is this wasted ISOs on Juggernaut. Everything else I can live with. So let's change that ISO. I'm going to give you a B for the team. Team number 9 is the YA. I don't see any problems here. Everybody's Striker. Ms. Marvel is a skirmisher. It's pretty standard. Everybody's got their own thoughts and ideas about placement. As long as Ms. Marvel is not in the corner, I don't care. Personally, I think you should change Echo and Squirrel Girl. I like speeding Squirrel Girl up that much faster. If she gets ability blocked, at least she has that much less turn bar to get through to get that ability block off of her and get to that cleanse later on. Also, there's something to be said about having let's see. Okay, there's something to be said about having other people adjacent to Miss Marvel other than Squirrel Girl. So swapping Squirrel Girl with Kate instead might be an option too. Then you have Kate and Echo on either side of Ms. Marvel, and if they get hit with some sort of splash damage or chain or something like that, they might drop below the threshold that speeds up Squirrel Girl. So there's some options for placement change. Honestly, as long as Ms. Marvel is not in the corner, I'm happy with it. I can give you an A for this team. Moving on is team number 10, Heroes for Hire. We have Luke Cage out of the corner, although he is a skirmisher, which is different. I like him better as a fortifier so that when he dies, he revives with more barrier. It makes him that much more tougher to get through. I do not like the healer ISO on anybody in this team. Every counter that goes into this team uses lots of heal blocks, so I think it's a bad choice. Otherwise, other than the ISO changes on Luke Cage and Iron Fist, I got no problems with this. I think it's pretty good. I can give you... I can go B+ on this. That Skirmisher is not a terrible secondary choice behind Fortifier. So Yeah, I'll give you a B+ for that team. Okay, this has been Chaosbringer's Defense Up. If you like what you saw, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos. I'm going to continue to try and put out as many of these Defense Up videos as I can each week, but with Crucible on the rise, I am having a lot of people talk about that defense as being more important. And I think people are kind of getting the message that War Defense is about throwing your trash on there after you have selected your offensive teams. And people seem to be caring a little bit more about that Crucible defense, as those bonuses are very impactful to the way that plays out. So hopefully we'll get into talking about that. Remember, guys, don't just have a good game, be good to yourselves and others too, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.